was dumb. It's like, it's been 5 minutes, no one showed up. Alright, my stream's on 5-minute delay. Eh. How's it going, people? I see some folks are showing up. I accidentally had my stream on a 5-minute delay, so I have no idea if you're current or not. So let me know if you just heard this. Hopefully you just heard this, because I'm a dum dum, and I forgot to uncheck the stream delay thing from the monthly mocks that I did, and yeah, so that happened. That happened. But for the people just showing up, this is going to be a rating stream, or I guess a limited review for White and Blue in Eternal Masters, or not Eternal Masters, Eldritch Moon. Holy crap, I'm going to say that a lot today, aren't I? But yeah, so it's a White and Blue rating for Eldritch Moon. Mic is lower than normal. Good to know. Let me try to bring it a little closer to my face. Let's try that. Hopefully I'm not a little too close to the mic. Thanks for the heads up, Bugsy. Is that better? There we go. I could also try moving it up here, maybe. Maybe like that. So it's like a little more in front of my face. But I'm going to wait till we have like at least 10 or 15 people in here, because I want to get some different perspectives on cards. And then we're going to start going. Later on, I'm planning on posting this video to YouTube, so you can just watch it there if you'd like. But hopefully you'll stick around for now to make it as awesome as it can be. I'm also planning on having some guest streamers pop in, which is why there's another webcam spot underneath my little... my webcam. But I don't know if that's going to happen tonight or tomorrow. So we'll see. I know that G-Man Sokol was interested, Cake Taro was interested, and Alien was interested. 3 of my favorite streamers, so hopefully they can come by. But if they can't, that's not a big deal. And yeah, that's also the reason why the music is off, because I want to make it so that I can post it to YouTube. It's going to start annoying me after a while. But it is the way it is. Just want to make sure the stream is showing up properly on Twitch because it wasn't before. And I don't know if having to switch outputs from a delay to not a delay is going to make it weird. Hopefully not, though. Alright, it's showing up now. That's good. So far, Bugsy, what do you think about Eldritch Moon so far? From what you've seen of it. Do you have an opinion or no? Not really. White still seems pretty good. Yeah, I mean, from what I was seeing, it looked like all the colors got some interesting things for limited. I've already looked at all the cards once or twice. I haven't gone through them with a fine-tooth comb yet, though. So, yeah, I'm not super familiar with them yet, but I'm hoping that today I'm going to become more familiar with them. And yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm doing this. I like to make sure that I know the cards before I start drafting the set. Anyways, why don't we start getting into it, because I can see that we have some people in chat, and I don't want to make you wait too long. So let's just start. Let's look at Blessed Alliance. Blessed Alliance, 1 and a white instant with Escalate 2. Pay this cost for each mode chosen beyond the first. So the way it works is that this is a modal spell. I guess there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 7 possible ways to cast this spell. You can pay 1 and a white to gain 4 life, or, well, make target player gain 4. Don't recommend that one. You can pay 1 and a white to untap 2 target creatures, which also probably not worth it, but might be sometimes. You could pay 1 and a white to make an opponent sacrifice an attacking creature. That might be worth it on its own. But the real kicker is that you can do more than one. So you can pay 1 and a white and then also 2 colorless to choose any 2 of those options. Now, they would resolve in order, not that it would matter in most situations. I can't think of any reasons. Maybe if there was a creature, maybe if the opponent had a creature that made you unable to gain life, you'd wanted to do target player gains 4 life and target opponent sacks an attacking creature, you wouldn't gain the 4 life if they only attacked with that creature that made you unable to gain life. So, you know, there's a little weirdness there, but that's almost never going to matter. The point of the matter is, you know, you get a variety of different options in one card, and modal spells tend to be powerful for that reason. Just having the ability to have a 2 mana, basically target opponent sacrifice an attacking creature, that's a legitimate card. Like, you probably, I don't know, in some formats you might not play that in limited, but I think it would be a viable card in most formats. The fact that you can also pay an extra 2 and gain 4, or pay an extra 2 and untap 2 creatures to ambush your opponent's creatures, you know, that's a big deal. This is a very, very strong Magic card. Now, I just want to remind people of the way that I am rating cards. I'm using a system very similar to limited resources. So let's take a look. I wrote this for the last time we did it. But an A for, like, it's an A to F system. If we're rating the card an A, that means that card just warps the game. Once you cast it, your opponent says, oh crap, this is not good for me. Like, a good example of an A would be Archangel Avacyn. Holy crap, that card is absurd, right? if you cast that, you're gonna win the game most of the time, even if you were losing. Like that's an example of an A. They're cards that warp the game. They fundamentally change the way the game is played and demand an answer or demand your opponent to play around them, or they will lose. That's how I think of A's. A B is a card that is solid. It's really good. It's not something that warps the game necessarily, but it's a reward for being in those colors. And it's just, when you pick a B, you feel good about a B, right? So I think I'm going to rate Blessed Alliance as a B. It's a good card. It's definitely better than an average card, I'd say. But it doesn't warp the game. So I don't think that Blessed Alliance is an A. I think it's probably around a B. But let's keep going through the different ratings. So C's. C's are average draft cards. Most of your draft decks, especially most of your sealed decks, are going to be made out of C's. These are cards that, you're not sad to include them, but they're not overwhelming. Sometimes they can be really nice, but usually they're pretty average. Like a good example of a C would be a 2/3 for 3 mana with minor upside in limited, or a 2/2 for 2 with minor upside in limited. Those are classic C's. Maybe a mediocre piece of removal might be a C, like 4 mana, or let's say like 5 mana, sorcery speed, deal 4 damage to something. That would probably be a C. That cards that are average, or kind of bad removal. That's how I rate C's. D's are cards that you're usually unhappy to play, but almost every draft deck's going to have to play some D's. What's a good example of a D? Maybe Loam Dryad. Loam Dryad's like a D. In some decks it overperforms, but in most decks you're not happy to play it, and you're only going to play it if you really don't have a lot else at the bottom of your curve, and you need some stuff to just play there. And for reference, Loam Dryad is a 1/2 for 1 green mana, that you can tap it and another creature you control to make 1 mana, which, it's minor upside, but you're not going to play that card in most decks if you're, if you have a lot to choose from. It's just not that good. Finally, you have Fs. Just don't play Fs. Fs are cards that are just bad, and I know there's some Fs in this format because I've seen them already, and I'll point them out when we get there. Yeah, Reduced to Ashes is an example of a C, yeah. It's a fine removal card. You're not unhappy to play it, but it's not, exciting. Yeah, exactly, Bugsy. Finally, one more category is sideboard cards or build-around cards. Sideboard cards are cards that if you don't want to play them in your main deck because they're too narrow, but against the right deck, they're very powerful. So what's a good example? Celestial Purge. If I recall, that card is 1 and a white mana, instant, exile target black or white creature, I think, or something like that. It's a really good card, if I recall. Let me check it out. Celestial Purge. Yeah, 1 and 1 and a white, exile target black or red permanent. That's not something you're going to main deck, but really good card as a sideboard. And I don't think it's in this format either. Just pointing it out as an option. Root Out, another good example, yeah. Thanks for the follow, by the way. Let me pull up my Twitch alerts so I can keep track of who's following. Twitch alerts. Build around cards are cards that are not powerful unless you build around them. And we'll run into a few of those, I'm sure. By the way, this is a rating system that Limited Resources uses. I really like Limited Resources. You should definitely check them out. I'm a part of their Patreon for them, and they are awesome. They help me get a lot better at Limited, so you should check them out for sure. All right, so let's go back to the ratings. I think this is a B. Probably just a solid B. And I'm going to say modal spells are great due to their flexibility. I mean, not much to say there. All right, next one, Borrowed Grace. Borrowed Grace, 2 and a white mana for an instant.